So this is my trading to onto stocks and shares ISA. The value is pretty close to £120,000. Now, if I was a dividend investor and could achieve a stable dividend yield of 5%, I could expect £6,000 a year in dividends, which is around £500 per month. Now, this isn't enough to retire off of, but I know all of you guys watching this like to receive dividends. And, who doesn't like to receive dividends? However, my problem with dividend companies has always been that, dividends are not guaranteed. The company can cut the dividends at any point in time. And also, if you are a stock picker picking individual stocks, the performance of those stocks, if you are focused on dividends, could be quite disappointing. And then if the value of the company goes down, then realistically, what is the point of a high dividend yield? So instead of picking individual dividend stocks, why don't we just go for an ETF which tracks high dividend yield companies? So in this video, I'm going to be looking at a few high dividend tracking ETFs and see realistically if they are worth it, and should I deviate from my plan of just investing into high growth ETFs. As always, I'm using the Trading 212 platform, and if you would like to sign up to Trading 212 and receive a free fractional share worth up to £100, all you have to do is to click the link in the description box down below. Alternatively, if you have already signed up to Trading 212 in the past 10 days but have not received your free fractional share, all you have to do is to press the 3 horizontal line menu over here, scroll all the way down until you see the section use promo code. And in this section, just enter my code JUBAIR and you should receive a free fractional share. Now, first things first, where do we even get the list of high dividend yield paying companies? Well, you can do your own research, which is always recommended. But on Trading 212, we can go into the search menu that will give us the most popular ETFs when we search high dividend yield ETFs. Now, all we have to do is to press the magnifying glass at the bottom of the screen. Now, when you press this menu, you will be taken into this secondary menu, which will show you very popular stocks, what's trending, biggest winners and losers. As always, I don't recommend to look at this like an Argos catalog and just go into random companies because, this is your own money that you're going to be putting at risk. But let's go into the search bar at the top of the screen and then type in high dividend ETF. Now, like I said, Trading 212 is likely going to just show you the most popular ETFs. And in addition to what I've said, the most popular doesn't necessarily mean the best for you. Remember, personal finance is to do with yourself. I cannot give you financial advice. I can only go through my own personal journey or give you more information about ETFs, and it's ultimately up to you to decide if you want to invest or not. Now, the first one that comes up is the Vanguard FTSE All-World High Dividend Yield, Vanguard being probably the most popular fund provider that provides ETFs on Trading 212 and other platforms. Of course, it does more than just ETFs, it does mutual funds and stuff like that. But we're just going to be looking at ETFs today. So let's go into VHYL and we're going to be looking at, the past performance and the dividend yield and what kind of companies and sectors we are invested into. So like I said, this has the ticker code VHYL and this is the Vanguard FTSE All-World High Dividend Yield. Essentially, it is like the Vanguard FTSE All-World, but instead of investing into companies around the world and not looking at their sector, this focuses on companies which are prioritizing giving out dividends. So as you can see from upcoming events, the next dividend payment date is on the 2nd of July 2025. So for example, if you were holding shares in this ETF on the morning of the market open on the 19th of June 2025, then you should be eligible for at least some dividends. So over here under statistics are some Trading 212 gathered metrics. Now, I would always recommend to double check these if these seem really high. Trading 212 is a platform for investing. It is not a financial advice platform or even a statistics platform first. So, make sure you do your own research first. So first things first, the expense ratio is 0.29%. Now, typically I would say this is pretty high, but because this fund is quite, niche, it focuses on all-world plus dividend-paying companies. I would say, yes, it can be quite expensive, but we're going to see that none of these funds are really going to be that cheap. Assets under management over £4 billion, which is decent to see. No one wants to put their money into a very small fund because it can technically get cut at any point because it's not really making the fund managers money. So dividend frequency is quarterly. This is very normal for most companies, especially, the S&P 500. So in terms of dividend yield, Trading 212 does say 3.58%. Again, I will check this if it seems too high, but 3.5% I can accept. That seems pretty, reasonable for me, not anything too high. So if we check the performance over the past year, we can see it is up by over 4.29%. And since 2019, the fund is up by over 22%. Now, unfortunately, this is the trade-off that you're going to pay, in my opinion, if you want to prioritize a high dividend yield. And this is the lack of growth compared to something like the S&P 500. Now, there's always an alternative way to look at it. You can think that the dividends paid out by this ETF have been stable and there has been growth. Although the growth has been pretty, poor in comparison to the S&P 500, there still has been growth and dividends have been paid out. So personally, if I wanted to retire on dividends and I saw a fund that was increasing in value and also the dividends were pretty stable, then that could be an attractive option to me. However, right now, as a 31-year-old, I would definitely personally not put my money into here, as I would rather get the growth now. And if I wanted to diversify into dividend paying companies, then it stands to reason under my own calculations that I'd rather get the growth first, have a large portfolio, and then put it into dividends if I wanted to do that, which I don't know if I'm sure about. But as you can see, here are the annualized performance over the past year, 9.72%. For a high dividend yield ETF, that is actually pretty good. You can see over the past 3 years, 6.78%. Again, this is definitely beating out inflation, but remember, past performance can't always guarantee future results. 6.7% is still a very good amount, and you have to remember that you're getting a pretty decent dividend yield on top of that. The 5-year annualized performance is really good. There's no two ways about that. I'd be really happy with that. But again, long term, will this fund keep performing? I'm not too sure about that. Now, as always, the fund allocation is very important. So these are the top holdings for the VHYL. We have JP Morgan Chase & Co. We have ExxonMobil. We have Procter & Gamble, and we have Johnson & Johnson. Most of these companies have been paying dividends and increasing their dividend amount to their shareholders for many decades. Some of these are known dividend aristocrats, or very close to being aristocrats. Without getting into too much detail, they have been paying out dividends regularly for a very long time. Companies like Johnson & Johnson have been established for a long time, so they are very reliable dividend payers. However, even a very reliable dividend payer can choose to stop its dividend at any point in time. Now, in terms of sectors, there is good diversification in my opinion. So financials around 30%, which is kind of pretty high. We have industrials, consumer staples, healthcare, energy, consumer discretionary, utilities, communication services, technology, materials, and real estate. Now, in terms of companies, this is an all-world fund, so we can't be surprised that it will have the biggest weighting towards the United States of America, so 42% towards USA. Again, this is less than 60%, which most all-world funds will have a weighting towards the US. But of course, being focused on dividends, the US isn't really known overall as the S&P 500 as a huge dividend payer. The UK overall seems to have higher dividend paying companies, at least yield wise overall. So that's why UK is included at over 7%. We have Japan as the second main player, 8.77%. And we have also notable mentions from Switzerland, Canada, China, France, Germany, Australia, Taiwan, and other companies. Now, of course, it's your own decision if you want to get the distributing version or the accumulating version. But in this scenario, it would be kind of counterintuitive to go for an ETF which accumulates these dividends. But of course, if that's your prerogative, by all means do that. Now, if we stay into this search menu here, we can see there's a lot of Vanguard stuff, but we're going to skip them because they're mostly the exact same thing, but from different stock exchanges. You can see the top two, one is distributing, one is accumulating. The next one is on the Amsterdam Stock Exchange, and the next one is on another European stock exchange. So remember, if you're going to invest into an ETF, it is probably a very wise decision to go with your local currency and your local stock exchange so that you're not paying extra foreign exchange fees. So if we scroll down, we can see here's another fund. This is the Invesco S&P 500 High Dividend, Low Volatility Distributing Fund. Now, this actually focuses on the S&P 500, so we're not going to get an all-world exposure. And I think most people will agree that the S&P 500 is an ETF that is focused more on growth than dividends, as typically the S&P 500 would only have a dividend yield of around 1%. However, we can see when we try to deviate from the S&P 500 by picking high dividend companies, we're reducing the diversification because most of the high growth companies, for example, Apple and Nvidia, pay almost nothing in terms of dividends. So if you're going to exclude those companies, then I think your growth will be impacted quite a bit. You can see over the past year, this fund is down by over 1.73%. So let's find out a little bit more about this fund. You can see here, I'm using just ETF as trading tool on to, unfortunately, doesn't have all the details. You can see that the expense ratio is 0.3%, which is expensive for an S&P 500 fund. But again, this is not a typical S&P 500 fund. We can also see that it is a distributing fund. The fund size is pretty small, under £250 million. Again, with a smaller fund size, you might be a bit weary about that. Now you can see the top holdings this fund has. They are companies found in the S&P 500. However, you probably wouldn't have heard of those as they are not the main growth drivers. So at 3.4%, this is Altria Group, then Crown Castle, Verizon Communications, that's probably the only one I've heard so far, VICI Properties, LyondellBasell, we have Realty Income, a very popular REIT there. We have Pfizer, AT&T, Dow, and Healthpeak. Again, these are companies found in the S&P 500, but they aren't really known for bringing the majority of the gains of the S&P 500. As you may know, the Magnificent Seven over the past, year or so, those are the companies that have been giving the S&P 500 its growth. And when you remove them, you can see the performance really suffers. Now again, as this is an S&P 500 high dividend yield fund, the majority of the investments will be in the USA, and I would assume it's pretty much 100%. I'm not sure exactly how the UK is actually working here, maybe Pfizer or something like that. Now in terms of sectors, there is some diversification. We have quite a heavy weighting towards real estate, utilities, consumer supplies, energy, healthcare, basic materials, financials, and the list goes on. Now here are some performance figures. You can see over the past year, 2.24%, very poor compared to the S&P 500. Over the past 3 years, 8.77%, and I don't believe these are annualized, so these are just performance figures. Over the past 5 years, things do seem a bit better, so 54.83%. Now, this fund currently has a dividend yield of around 4.14%, and to be fair, there is some growth in the ETF, so as long as the fund continues to grow and dividends are continued to pay out, that could be an option for some, but you do have to make that your own decision. Now, like I said, you can go in for the most popular funds, or you can actually search your own fund. So I'm going to search for this ticker code IUKD. So this is the iShares UK Dividend Fund. So you can see over the past year, this fund has been doing pretty well. The next dividend is due very shortly, as you can see. You can see the price of the fund is very cheap, £8.30, and the dividends paid out is 19 pence. So it seems like a very high dividend yield. So the expense ratio is 0.4%, which is actually pretty high. Assets under management, pretty sizable, not the biggest thing in the world, closing in on £1 billion. Dividends are paid out every quarter, very standard business there. And Trading 212 says that the dividend yield is 5.36%, which is pretty high. Now, like I said, always double check the dividend yield from somewhere else, just so you're not investing solely based on what this says. Now, if you look at the annualized performance, you can see the 1 year annualized performance is very low at less than 0.1%. But if we look at the 3 years annualized growth, you can see it's 9.49%. But the 5 year annualized growth is pretty bad at 2.65%. You can see there is a lot of volatility in this fund. We need only to zoom out to see just how much volatility there really is. And since 2019, this fund basically has not even grown, although your dividends would probably have been paid out realistically. Now, what does this fund invest into? These are the top 10 companies. We have British American Tobacco at a massive 5.37%. Then we have Legal and General at 4.35%. We have British Petroleum, Aviva, Rio Tinto, Vodafone, HSBC, Imperial Brands, and National Grid. As you may know, this is the IUKD, so these are UK dividend-paying companies. In terms of sectors, there is a fair bit of diversification, although quite a big weighting towards financials, consumer staples, and utilities, and there is some in communication, energy, materials, and a bit in real estate, consumer discretionary, and healthcare. Now, no surprises here, there is very little in terms of diversification in countries because it's almost predominantly going to be UK-based companies. So the next ETF we're going to look at is from SPDR or SPDR, and this is the SPDR S&P UK Dividend Aristocrat. Straight off the bat, we can see over the past year it has been doing pretty well. Unfortunately, in terms of data, there's not really much more here, so let's go into Just ETF. So here we can see this on Just ETF. We can see this has a total expense ratio of 0.3%. Again, none of these ETFs are going to have super low fees because they are quite niche. In terms of fund size, this is pretty small, under £100 million. It was launched in 2012, so I wouldn't say this is a popular fund by any means. Now, its current dividend yield is just 3%, so nowhere near the 5% that might convince me to become a dividend investor. But anyway, let's check out its holdings. We can see National Grid is the highest at 5.29%. Then we have NatWest, we have IG Group Holdings, the investment group, we have Legal and General, we have Drax. Games Workshop is actually here, which is actually very interesting. And you can see the top 10 holdings actually all have a significant weighting in the portfolio, all around 5%. Now, in terms of performance, this fund seems to be, at least on paper, performing well in addition to giving out dividends. So you can see over the past year, 13.27%. I believe that kind of beats out the S&P 500 if I'm correct. Over the past 3 years, 28.25%. Again, if you divide it by 3 or compare it with the S&P 500, this is not going to beat out anything like that. Over the past 5 years, 33%. Again, you're getting some growth, but you're also getting dividends, so it's always up to you what the decision is going to be. So this next fund is called the PSRU, and this is the Invesco FTSE RAFI UK 100 Distributing Fund. Over the past year, you can see just from our timescale, it is up by 7.56%, which is pretty good. So let's go through the fund details. You can see the total expense ratio is 0.39%. They all have a pretty high expense ratio, so that's another consideration should you go for something like the S&P 500, which can be found as cheap as 0.03% these days. So over 10 times cheaper than this, and you get lots of growth. Or should you actually just go all in into dividends and hope for some growth and stable dividends? It's all up to you. But you can see this fund is focused on the FTSE 100, which is kind of known for its high dividend yield overall. But I think this fund focuses more on those higher dividend yield players. Now, in terms of dividend yield, this fund has a current dividend yield of close to 4% at 3.93%. which I think is a decent dividend yield. Now, in terms of holdings, the top company is Shell at over 10%. Then we have HSBC, we have British Petroleum, we have Glencore, British American Tobacco, Rio Tinto, Unilever, Vodafone, Barclays, and Lloyds Banking Group. Now, over the past year, the performance has been great in my opinion, especially including their dividend yield at over 12%. Over the past 3 years, again, really good in my opinion performance at 42%. And over the past 5 years, I would still say this is excellent, 87.96%. Now, if I had a size of retirement pot that I was really happy about, this could possibly be a consideration, getting dividends regularly paid to me whilst also growing my portfolio during retirement. It could be a good thing, especially because it's close to 4%. You know, you could really play out the 4% rule and just wait for your dividends. Could be a good option, but who knows if the dividends can reliably be paid out quarter to quarter. So make sure to check out some of my other videos and I'll see you in the next video.